So, what are the correct steps to take on your cloud native journey? What are the different ways you can get involved? The different ways you can contribute? I'm very, very happy to be joined by Kunal Verma, who is one of our initial interns when we started having folks, young folks in the community that are getting started on their cloud native journeys. And his journey has been exceptional since then. When we met in KubeCon, seems like 5 years ago, but it wasn't. Anyway, Kunal, welcome. Great to see you as always. And can you just tell folks who don't know you a little bit about your background and how your cloud native journey got started?
Sure, it's a pleasure, Bart, to always have a conversation with you. And hey, everyone, my name is Kunal, and I am a pre-final year student from India. Yeah, I am a student right now, and I'm an ambassador for the Cube Simplify community, which is started by Sayam Pathak, and we actually aim to provide resources and guide people in the whole cloud native ecosystem. It's quite confusing in the start, and yeah, we definitely help folks to get started with it. I also try to learn in public, so I share whatever I learn with everyone on mostly on Twitter, and trying to get active on LinkedIn as well. So if you want to reach out to me anytime with any doubt, you can definitely do so on my Twitter account. And apart from that, I'm trying to get my way into the DevOps ecosystem, trying to learn all the tech which is around here, and yeah, trying to just explore because there is a lot to learn. So yeah, trying to just explore it. Talking about my journey, how it got started, I think specifically in the cloud native ecosystem, it got started through KubeCon, and that was my very first KubeCon where I met Bart as well. So that was in, I think, the early 2021. Bart, that was the EU one.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I got started. I attended that, and it was first time virtual due to all the Corona stuff. So I attended that, and through that I got introduced to all the cloud native community. I understood the meaning of what exactly is cloud native, what does it mean, right? All the DevOps ecosystem and the technologies that the companies are using right now. So I attended that. I attended a lot of sessions. A lot of things were sort of very new to me at that particular time. I didn't even heard about what exactly is cloud native and stuff like that, right? So I attended sessions. I attended a mentorship session, and Bart was our mentor. Very he guided me all along the way, and still guiding me. He's still guiding a lot of folks. So if you want to reach out to him, you can very well do so. He's a very kind person. And yeah, that is, I think KubeCon was one of the starting points for me, and then I got involved in communities, attended meetings and stuff like that. I got started with contributing. That was, I think, the starting point, and then everything was I guess laid out as a path for me, right? I reached out to people with my questions, and yeah, that is, I think, how my journey began, and here we are today.
All right, very good. And a lot has happened in a short period of time. That being said, you interact with a lot of young people, and your example is very strong with the different areas, different projects that you've been involved in, and your commitment and showing up and paying it forward. At the same time, what are some things, maybe mistakes that you could have made or mistakes that you see people often making in that process and ways to avoid them? What advice would you give there?
I think there are a few, but the ones that I think are one of the most important mistakes that people make. Yeah, mistakes are important. You should always make mistakes. That's how you learn. So I think the number one is the people that I've seen, and I did in the beginning as well. I didn't start by asking questions in public. So I used to, when I got started, if I just remember, when I got started, I used to DM people whenever I had some doubt. I used to just reach out for them, search for their name in the community, and I used to reach out to them. Hey, I am having this doubt, and please, can you help me solve them? Now there are two problems that happens here. The number one is folks who are involved in these big communities. Let's say Kubernetes, right? They might also have their full-time jobs, so they are taking out their time for doing open source and community work. So the number one thing is that they might be busy, and you won't even get a reply for around like 2 to 3 days. I'm talking about minimum. This is the minimum number, right? And the second mistake is that even if you get a reply, as for example, you face an issue, you DM'd a person, you DM'd a maintainer, even if it got solved, you may not get as many different perspectives if we compare it to asking questions in public, right? So I'll suggest, if you are getting started, try to form this particular habit of asking your questions in public. There are a lot of public channels if we are talking about these open source communities. So join their Slack, join their community. Try to first introduce yourself, that too in public, so that everyone knows, okay, we have a new member. And you'll definitely see the magic of these cloud native communities, that how beautifully they welcome you. So this is how, I got started. I first introduced myself. I put that particular thing forward, that okay, I am new here, I'm a beginner, and I want to learn. So this is something that people will see in this particular whole ecosystem, the cloud native ecosystem, and they'll try to help you, right? So introduce yourself in public, ask your questions in public, and that's how you'll also learn to ask good questions. Now, by good questions, I mean, every question is, good, even if you're just beginning. Not any question is not, silly if you are just getting started. But by good question, I mean that, for example, you search for a particular technology, right? So while asking question, you'll also mention that this is something I searched on my end and I'm stuck right now, so how can you help me, right? So the person opposite to you will see, okay, this the particular person has actually made some efforts on their own side to get past this particular error, and they'll try to help you more. So I'll say one example of a good question, but you'll definitely get the hang of it when you will start interacting with people in public. So that is one advice. And second, I'll say is be kind. So this is something that has helped a lot. From the starting, I am, believe it or not, I'm a very kind person in real life as well. I have not met anyone. I have not even met Bart, in person, but I'm a kind person, and I try to be kind in the way that I interact with people. So you have to be, because we are in an online mode, right? We interact with people right now in a like on camera. So you don't really know who is exactly sitting behind the other side, right? You have to be considerate about their time. You have to be considerate about that they are spending time guiding you for a particular thing. So be kind in the way that you're interacting with it, and be patient, I'll say. So these are, I think, a few advices that will definitely help you in the long way. I hope that was.
That's great. And the thing is, those two things about being patient and being kind, neither one of those are technical, and they are as important, and I would say sometimes more important than the technical things. And so for folks that are young, we know that your technical, area will be as developed as it is in the best way that it can be, but no one's expecting you to learn everything in 5 minutes. People would expect and certainly appreciate kindness and patience. And kindness can also mean, respect. And like you said, it's not that you are trying to disrespect people by, sending them DMs, but then you realize, oh, these folks also have a full-time job and they're doing this in their free time. What are other areas or other places where I can go get my questions answered, whether it's in a Slack channel, whether it's on Twitter, different ways that you can get those answers. And I also really like what you mentioned, that a little bit of effort goes a long way. If the amount of times that seen certain questions and I respond with a screenshot of saying, you can look for that in Google, say like, what is Kubernetes? It's like, well, there is a lot of information about that. If you say that I looked and I'm not understanding this part, can somebody please help me? That's much better. Look at documentation. When you get stuck and can be more specific, then it's easier for people to help you. And luckily, it's very unlikely that your question will be the first time that it's being asked, meaning that someone else is probably has asked that before. So whether it's on Twitter, whether it's in Slack, things of that nature, generally pretty quick that people will be able to help out. And look for opportunities where you can help too. And you're obviously someone who's doing that constantly, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's in the CNCF Slack, whether it's been on the Glossary project. We're almost out of time, but I just want to ask, what are the next steps that you're interested in taking? What's on your radar?
I think the next steps I'm working on right now, so that would be developing my technical skills in the DevOps ecosystem. So I am trying to follow a particular roadmap for this. I am following Sayam Pathak's roadmap. You should definitely check it out. It's very detailed, and if you want to get started learning about different technologies, so that is something you should definitely check out. I'll say, because I have been guiding people in sort of a way of getting started, but for my personal in my mind, I feel that there's a kind of a barrier between me and someone who's who wants to know more about, rather than just getting started, who is in the middle of his or her journey, and they want to know, okay, how can I build projects, how can I get started contributing in sort of a code perspective in a particular organization, right? So I feel that there I lack a bit because of my technical knowledge, because I haven't been in touch with tech around the DevOps ecosystem. So I am working currently on that, trying to learn Kubernetes in depth, trying to learn all these technologies, different cloud technologies out there, and then building projects. And of course, I'll always share this on public. Everyone knows on Twitter what I'm doing these days. So yeah, this is something I've been working on, and of course, contributing to open source projects is again something I've been looking forward to. Yeah, and podcasts like these as
Very,
well.
very good.
So
Yeah.
I really hope to
Yeah. Well, you do a great job.
I really hope to create content as well, video content more, because I want to improve my skills of talking to people on camera. I feel I lack somewhat in there as well. So yeah, this is something I've been looking forward to.
Good. Well, anyway, all those things are great. But as you show lots of kindness to others, I think it's very important that you show kindness to yourself. And you're doing amazing things. People know you and know that you're the same person on camera as well as off camera. And I think that was a very good point that you made as well. I think that, there's always stuff that we would like to be doing more. The question is, when can I get the time? What are the specific things I want to focus on? It seems that you're quite clear about that. So that being said, Kunal, it was wonderful catching up, and I'm sure people are going to get a lot out of this. You're quite easy to find. Your Twitter handle is right here, but we'll share all the other links of where you're at with Kube Simplify as well. Shout out to Siam. Yeah, it's here. Yeah, it's right there. So that being said, thank you very much for your time, and look forward to seeing your next steps and hopefully connecting in person at KubeCon.
Yep, hoping for that too, and really excited for DoK Explorers Day. So see you all there, everyone.
All right. Cheers.